Safe House, Part 1. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not during war. Not in the middle of a mission. And certainly not while huddled in a safe house with 4 of the most lethal men on the planet. Captain Price, Ghost, Soap, and Gaz, each with their own demons, scars, and stories. He'd been with Task Force 141 for 2 years, the only woman of the youngest, and damn good at your job. No one ever treated you different. Well, at least not until about 6 weeks ago. Back then, tensions were high, emotions were frayed, and the mission in Berlin had nearly gone south. You'd almost been killed, and when Soap pulled you from the wreckage, bleeding and shaking, something seemed to snap. One night, when a mistake, one whispered promise into the dark bunker when the air smelled like blood and smoke. You were staring at the white stick in the crumbling safe house bathroom, somewhere in middle of Eastern Europe, you think? Heart in your throat, hands trembling. 2 lines. Positive. You sat on the lid of the toilet in stunned silence, barely able to hear anything over the thudding of your own chest. The sound of the boys arguing over rations drifted from the other room. Soap. You weren't even supposed to let it happen. Once, and now you were pregnant in the middle of a war zone. You could hear Price's voice already in your head. "We don't mix business with pleasure, soldier," he would say. Too late. You folded the test into a napkin and shoved it deep into your rucksack. You weren't ready to tell anyone. Not yet. But Ghost noticed. He always noticed. "You all right?" he asked quietly, leaning against the wall as you sipped stale coffee later that morning. You didn't meet his eyes. "I'm fine," you muttered back. "Just tired." Ghost tilted his head. "You've been skipping meals and you seem a bit sick every morning since Poland. Holding your side when you sin, that's not fine." You swallowed thickly, avoiding his gaze. "It's not the time to talk about it." He didn't press further, but you knew he knew. It took another week before you could gather the courage to even tell Soap. You waited until the others were asleep one night, or at least like they were pretending to be. Curled in their own corners at the warehouse, Soap had been working on cleaning a rifle when you approached, looking pale and wrung out. "Can I talk to you?" you asked. He looked up instantly, kind of alert. "Of course, lass. Sorry, force of habit." He gave a sheepish smile. "What's up?" You sat down across him, your heart hammering your chest. "Something happened in Berlin that night. You paused, throat tightening. "I'm pregnant." His face froze. For a full 10 seconds, he didn't say a damn thing. Then, shite. "I didn't plan this," he said quickly. "It was one night. I don't expect anything from you. I just thought you'd like to know." Soap looked away, his brows furrowed. He was quiet, unusually so. Then he reached over, placing a hand gently over yours. "You're not alone in this, lass," he said. You blinked, unsure if you actually heard him right. "What?" you questioned. "I care about you. I care about you, Anne, and I'm not about to run off and leave you to handle this solo," he said, voice low. "We'll figure it out. Together." You let out a breath you didn't even know you were holding. For the first time in days, you felt like the world wasn't caving in around you. Telling the others was a different story, though. Price wasn't angry, just tired. He rubbed a hand down his face and muttered something about bloody kids. "Look," he finally said. "I should reprimand the both of you. I should be furious, but I'm not. At the end of the day, you're still one of my best soldiers, Ryan, and I'll protect you both with my life, and that's what matters right now." Gaz didn't say anything, just pulled you into a quiet brotherly hug, but it was Ghost who actually surprised you the most. He sat down beside you as the others began to leave the room, silent for a moment, and then he spoke, his voice oddly gentle. "You ever need something, or someone to keep you safe, I'm your man." You looked over a bit surprised. "You already do that," he shot back. He gave the faintest smile beneath his mask. "Then I guess I'll have to keep doing it." Over the next few weeks, they adjusted. Soap was fiercely protective, hovering more, stepping in too close when you got close to the action. You snapped at him once and he backed off, just so it was clear, but he was scared. Scared to lose you, scared to lose your baby. Price made arrangements behind the scenes, golden favors whispered into secret comms when someone named Lanswell. He didn't say it, but you knew he was planning the inevitable, getting you out before it became too dangerous. Ghost was steady, constant. He brought you water without asking, tossed you protein bars, and helped you to your feet when your back started hurting more. Gaz cracked jokes and just basically messed around about being an uncle. And somehow, through that chaos of war and secrecy, you started to feel like something close to peace. 3 months later, you were pulled from the field. The night before you left, the team gathered around a fire in the forest clearing, the sound of the world distant and quiet. Soap held your hand tightly. "I missed you," he murmured, "but you're doing the right thing." "I feel like I'm abandoning you," you admitted. "You're not," Ghost said from across the fire. "You're surviving. That's the mission." Price lit a cigar. "We'll handle things here, just promise you'll name the kids something other than Ghost Jr. Everyone laughed, even you. And as the truck pulled away the next morning, you looked back at them standing there, your team, your family. God, you were scared. So scared, but you were already ready. The safe house was quiet now. No guns, no echo of boots, just birdsong and the hum of electricity through the old walls. You'd been relocated to a secure location in the quiet English countryside, a cottage surrounded by dense forest and far from chaos. But the air was clean and the skies were clear, but that didn't mean there was peace. It was purgatory. You sat in a rocking chair. Price insisted you having one hand resting on your stomach. 5 months. Your belly had grown round and firm, and the baby had started kicking last night. You should have felt joy. You should have cried from the beauty of pregnancy. Instead, you cried from the silence. You hadn't been in contact in 3 weeks, not since Price last coded the message saying, "Mission ongoing. Stay sharp. We're okay." You'd reread it so many times the paper was starting to fall apart. Soap's handwriting had been at the bottom. "Miss you, Ethan. Tell the bean I said hi." You smiled faintly at the memory and whispered to your stomach, "He called you a bean. I'm so sorry." The loneliness hit hard at night. That's when you dreamed of them. You dreamed of Soap laughing, Cass complaining about rations, and Ghost quietly handing you tea without a word. You even missed Price's lectures. Every creak in the cottage made you reach for a gun. Every shadow outside made the check the locks. You were trained to fight, not to sit still. But you weren't alone. Not really. Not anymore. Your OB was ex-military, thank God. She understood when you flinched at loud sounds or scanned exits before sitting down. Her name was Dr. Chetton, and she was the first person who talked to you like you were more than a mission. "You need to start thinking about names," she said as she pressed a cold gel against your baby for the ultrasound. You far enough along now? I haven't told anyone the gender, he said softly. Dr. Chen smiled. I know, but you know, don't you? She asked. He nodded, throat tight. I didn't want to tell anyone yet, just in case something happens. She paused and turned the monitor towards you. Well, they're perfect and very active. You stared at the black and white blur of your child's face, heart kicking painfully against her ribs. It had a little nose, curled up fists, and the outline of a mouth. A person. Your person. I think I might name them after someone on the team, you whispered. Dr. Chen smiled again, soft this time. That sounds like a lovely idea. A package arrived 2 days later. No name, no return address, just an oil-stained box wrapped in duct tape and camouflage paper. When you opened it carefully, breath hitching, you pulled out the layers, and inside were 4 things. 1. A battered Scottish flag folded with care. 2. A little black beanie obviously hand-knitted. You suspect gauze. 3. A cigar, unlit, untouched, with a note that said, "For after." And 4, at the very bottom, a piece of cardboard with a single sentence in Ghost's handwriting. Still got your 6, it read. You held it to your chest and sobbed. The baby came early. You were around 7 months along when contractions started. It was snowing, hard, and the roads were iced over. The world tilted sideways as you doubled over, pain nifting through you. Dr. Chen got there fast, thank the Lord. Too soon, she muttered, but we'll handle it. You were trained to survive bullets and betrayal and stabbing, but this was terrifying, you've had to admit. Every contraction felt like a countdown. The power flickered and you cried out. The word seemed to blur in pain and panic and effortless breathlessness. And then a wail. A sharp, loud, alive wail. It's a girl, Dr. Chen whispered, wrapping up baby in warm towels. She's small, but very strong. You reached down with shaking arms, cradling the tiny life against your chest. Her skin was so soft, her fists were clenched, and her little face was scrunched as she cried. You'd never seen anything more beautiful. Hi, baby, you whispered, tears slipping silently down your cheeks. I'm here. I've got you. 2 weeks later, they showed up. You'd finished feeding her, curled up on the couch with a blanket wrapped around you both, when a soft knock echoed through the front door. You froze. No one was supposed to come today. You crept to the window, baby tucked in your arms. Then you saw them. Soap, Ghost, Gaz, and Price. Alive. And mud-covered and exhausted, eyes scanning the trend lines even now. But alive. You practically flung the door open. No words, just arms around you, all of them holding you close, silent and quick. She's okay, you whispered into Soap's jacket, and she's perfect. Soap looked down at the bundle in your arms and slowly vented quietly and reached out to her. She's got your eyes, he murmured, voice breaking. Bloody hell, she's real. Gaz reached in next, cooing softly. Look at her hair! She's got a tiny mohawk. Price just looked at you and then the baby once, and nodded. Well done, soldier, he complimented. Ghost was the last. He stepped forward, gloved hand carefully, as he rested one hand in her blanket. She got fight in her, he said. She gets that from you. That night, you sat by the fire, baby in your arms. The team surrounded you. What'd you name her? Soap asked quietly. You smiled. Her name's Riley. Glancing at Soap. After the one who had my 6. Ghost looked away quickly, but you saw it, that glimmer of emotion behind his mask. Thank you, he muttered. They stayed for 3 days. They had her, told her, held her, fed her. guarded the door like a fortress, and on the last night as the wind howled outside, Price rested his shoulder on your arm. You got a new mission now, and you're not alone. I know, you whispered. You watched as soap tucked in a bear into Riley's bassinet, as Gauss hummed her sleep, and Gauss stood by the window, ever vigilant. You weren't alone anymore. You were home.